I've just been reflecting a little bit more on the story that I was thinking about going up the mountain earlier on in the week, and from Exodus 34. And in that story, when God says to Moses, I'm going to let the people go up, but I'm not going to go with you. And Moses turns around and says, if your presence won't go with us, then we're not going, basically. And there's a phrase in that story where God says to Moses, I know you by name and I'm pleased with you, or I know you by name and you've found favour with me. And I've been reflecting on that a lot in these last couple of days, just what a phrase that is. God saying, I know you by name and I'm pleased with you. And I guess I wonder whether God can say that about to us. In many ways that we're made right with God because of what Jesus did on the cross. Even if we live our lives just being messed up, that Jesus' death on the cross means that we're made right with God. And when God looks at us, that he sees us as righteous because of Christ's death. But I think there's something different here, that we can be saved and yet we can still be not doing what God wants of us. And we can be doing what doesn't please God and living in a way which doesn't please God, and just being struck by what is it for each of us, what does it mean for each of us to live lives where God can look at us and say, I know you by name and I'm pleased with you. That's what he said to Moses, and because he was pleased with Moses, he even hears Moses' pleas, his prayers, and he changes his mind about not going with them. And he then sends his blessing on his people. What an amazing thing, that because Moses lived a life of integrity and lived a life close to God, that was the impact of that. And I just encourage each one of us to think, what does it mean for us to live a life where God says to us, I know you by name and I'm pleased with you. You've found favour in my eyes. Isn't that what we actually want more than anything else? Isn't that what's actually perhaps the test of whether our lives have been in obedience to God or not, whether we've lived faithfully? And for some of us, that might mean taking considerable steps. It might mean not going for that promotion that, the world would say go for. It might mean actually not having the money and having the resources that, we might want to live a comfortable life. It might be as simple as just God saying, as being faithful enough to just look after your parents in your retirement, in their old age, and God seeing the way you do that is a way that shares something of the love of him with them, and therefore he'll say and look at you and say, I know you by name and I'm pleased with you. So I want to just encourage you to think and reflect, what might that mean for you? What might it mean for you to live your life where God says, I know you by name and I'm pleased with you? Is that something that you really want to strive for, want to just seek after? And I encourage you to take that in prayer, to God in prayer, and just say, what does it mean for me to do that? Is there anything in my life which I need to change? Are there any attitudes in myself which I need to change? Because God, more than anything, I want you to look at me with your amazing love and say, I'm pleased with you, my precious child. There's just a little thought for today that I hope encourages you and gives you something to ponder on.